If you're thinking about getting into model railroading or you're already an addict, boy do we have a project for you. In this episode, the loggers go back to work, starting right now. Hey, welcome to It's My Railroad, the how-to show for regular people. This is a show about regular people building model railroads featuring yours truly. I show you my tips and my techniques and all kinds of weird stuff that we get involved with. So if you're new here, consider subscribing and then don't forget to push that little bell icon so you can catch future videos. All right, rail fans, we have a lot of work to do today. So we're gonna jump right into the hobby room after a couple of announcements. Announcement number one. The folks over at YouTube Model Builders have asked It's My Railroad to appear on their live broadcast on August 14th. We're very excited about doing that. They're regular guy model builders just like you and me are, and we will give you more details as that event gets closer. Announcement number two, you see all of these? Between eBay, model train stuff, and my good friends over at Pfeiffer Hobby Supply, I purchased 9 locomotives for the next project we're gonna do when we're done with the logging camp. Now, that presupposes we ever get done with the logging camp. Well, we can't work on it until we go into the hobby room. So I say we do that right now. Okay, so my plan for detailing this log loading ramp, there's a few things I'm gonna do to it, and you know, maybe some of you guys have done this stuff before, maybe these are dumb ideas, but here's what I wanna do. I'm gonna put a coating of dirt right down through here that's sort of more filled in on this side and then gets less and less and less out to here. It's like dirt that's been tracked in, and not only that, you know, scale-wise, these gaps right here are pretty big. These guys are gonna break their ankles and junk in there. So that's one thing that I wanna do. Also, as we talked about earlier, these edges right here, I'd like to see what I can do to booger some of those up and break some off, and then just sort of weather the end of them so they don't look like they've all been recently cut off. That looks kind of hokey, if you ask me. But anyway, we're gonna work on that. And then, let's see, oh, here on the face of this thing, let me find a good place to show you. Without light behind it, it's kind of hard to see, but right in, there's these big gaps that have formed through here when we were making this. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to go through and maybe put some glue on the back side of this and some kind of way and dump dirt on it. So a little bit of dirt looks like it's coming through some of those gaps right there. And then also, maybe in some of where I've got some bigger gaps, or if I just want to pretend like there's bigger gaps, I made this little piece of wood that I'll show you. It's like planks that they're going to use, that maybe they put one across, you know, here, or maybe they you know, like right here, I've got a pretty big hole. Let's say they just put a piece of wood across there so the guys can walk on. It's like a patch, basically. I think will be a pretty decent detail. And then, you know, we're gonna see how this develops, but then also I'd like to have maybe just a little bit of green here and there, looking like there's some kind of growth maybe coming through from the dirt behind it. We're gonna give that a shot, see what happens. And then lastly, right here, somewhere we'll put a log, and I've got these two guys from the logging camp that are both holding picks, basically we're like pick bars, and I'll put them behind that log like they're rolling it off onto a car. Back here somewhere, just having some pictures I saw, there's just some logs strewn about like waiting to go onto a car. We'll have those strewn about. And then finally way over here, you know, I don't think that they would be in a place where they didn't have rope or something lying around. Maybe we'll put a little coil of rope up, maybe some pulpwood that's like not worthy of going in a pulpwood car. I don't know. So I'm gonna just develop it as we go. So what I think I want to do right now is go ahead and work on putting the dirt behind here and then putting some alcohol glue solution on it. So I got me this little plate so we don't get dirt everywhere. And I've got a smaller brush. It's kind of a throwaway brush, actually. That I think what we'll do is just dab a little of this on here. Start maybe down here. Just a little bit here and there. And then just wipe it along. I've never seen anybody do this. Again, I you know me, I like to get kooky and just sort of make stuff up as I go. So that's kind of what's happening here as we just paint that glue right on the back of this. Alright, I can see some of the glue. Let's see what happens when we sprinkle dust on it, or dirt on it. Yep. Maybe you can and maybe you can't see it, but right in here where there's a bigger gap, I don't know, can you see the dirt coming through? Dirt's there, there. Just here and there, there's dirt coming through my little retaining wall underneath the log loading ramp. I'm liking that. Check me out. All right, so what I'm intending to do here is take a little smidge of glue on a toothpick, just here and there. Maybe it's going to be down lower. Fill in some of these with some glue. A little bit. Kind of like that. Then I got this Fine Turf Green Grass by Woodland Scenics. Just put a little, sprinkle a little on there. Like that. And knock off the excess. Well, okay. That might be a little much. Some of these places, maybe not. Just scrape some of it off. Yeah, so if you can see that okay, I've got this little bit of green coming through here that I think I'll duplicate in a couple more spots along there. Almost make it look like behind it it's kind of damp and fertile, sort of mountainous earth that's letting like a little bit of growth come through. But down low, because it should be sloping up behind it, not down low the whole way. So I'm gonna go through and do a little bit more of that, and then we'll move on to whatever is next. Alright, so come the end of the day, I think I'm going to like that. That's not too bad. And that kind of takes care of the front anyway. Alright, so I'm going to move on to the top of this sucker now. So now what we'll do is go further into exploration mode. I think I'll go through and wipe some glue onto here. Just sort of paint it on a little bit like that. And then wipe it down somewhat so that it's not all built up on there. Then I'm gonna start sprinkling dirt, just gently sprinkling dirt on top of there so that it's a little thicker here and hopefully thins out. You know, if it doesn't thin out, not the end of the world. It's just kind of the way things work around here. So we're gonna give that a shot right now. Okay. We've got all these hours into this thing, right? I hope we didn't screw ourselves on this deal. I bet the master model builders experiment on something other than their hard-built model, huh? And over here at the end, I'm kind of stippling it on so we can sort of randomly pick up some dirt maybe. Back up in here. Alright, well anyway, look, we're going for it. Bob's my uncle. There you go. Now see that? When that glue dries, we got dirt all down in there, don't we? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so here's what I ended up doing. I've got that dirt down in there, but I've also got it spread along the top, and I was going back and forth with my finger, just sort of smoothing it out to blade it in there. That's working for me. It looks like dirt packed in. The problem is it's too bright in this moment. I think we're going to need to do the old alcohol and glue technique. See if we can make that happen without all that glue washing away or all that dirt washing away. Because I really think that's going to look good when I'm done with it. At least it looks good from up here. Now, there's not so much dirt down in here and stuff because it's not the same kind of thing. Gives a little bit more dimension, I suppose. If we wanted to get crazy, put some dirt on a brush like this. Go through and sort of sprinkle it on this part. And just dirty it up. Like that. No, it's not so bad. There should, you know, there's dirt hanging out there. Okay. May fate favor the foolish. Alright, I just went up and grabbed my isopropyl 70% alcohol. And we're going to kind of go for it here. I'm really trying to be careful not to put too much so I don't wash the dirt away. That's just my technique. I'm not certain if it's the right one. It sure sounded good though when I was saying it. I don't know exactly how this is gonna look, but I'm gonna just drop some of these fibers on here. I think even after the glue dries, if I don't like them, I can just rub them off with my fingers there. Alright, well, let's not get carried away. I think I did actually got carried away. It looks good, looks better, looks better. Oh, too much. Well, anyway, welcome to the regular guy world. We'll figure it out. It won't look bad anyway when it's done. Alright. So now, get the old glue solution out. You see I'm just putting these steady drops on there. Again, I don't know how much I should put on there. You know, if this wood gets too wet, it's just all going to warp anyway. I guess I should have thought of that like 20 minutes ago. Well, there you go, all nice and covered with glue and bubbles. Hello. That stuff's not. And me being me, never fully satisfied. Just a little sprinkling of dirt on top into the wet glue. That, in my opinion, will look awesome when it's dry. You know what, heck, while it's wet, I have this little piece of, like, I don't know, 32nd inch balsa that I've stained to look sort of like wood, like a plank. And by cutting little pieces like this, I think I can grab one, and some of these, like there's a big gap right here. Put it up on that gap. Well, I'm not certain that's a detail anybody will actually notice when they look at the layout, but okay. I think there's something else that needs to happen here. Alright folks, I am going to let that dry and cross my fingers that I didn't just completely screw the pooch on it. I think it'll look good when it's done. And you know, I'm just thinking, maybe, because I can start to see that little detail now, you know, maybe no one will ever see it, but I'll know it's there. I'm going to get me a little plank here that I'll put in that says maybe right here. I like that. In fact, I think I'm going to put 3 more of those right down here, because that's how I roll. There, another repair job. There you go. She's got to dry, and then we might do a little scraping or stuff here and there to, I don't know, detail it. Other than that, that is a log loader waiting for a couple of dudes to put logs on it. So there you go. We'll see when this is dry. All right, so the log loading ramp is dry and able to be detailed, and I did just that. I went through and I put all the detailing on that I think I want on this log loading ramp. So I didn't think you guys needed to watch me glue little people onto stuff. I'm just going to take you on a tour of the finished product, and then hopefully you will enjoy it and think it's as cool as I do. So let's move in and take a bit of a closer look. All right, so that's kind of a distant version at about average person's point of view, I think. I'm a little taller than that, so I can see down on a little bit more, but yeah, whatever. So let me just take you through some of the details here, give you a little close-up so you can see kind of how I finish this thing out. We'll start way over on the left here with the gully. I put this big rock in, and I put all these little rocks in here. Those rocks actually came from the same dirt that I sifted to throw into the logging camp, but I put it through a screen instead. So the dirt fell through and the little gravel remained, and I just sort of put it down in there with my fingers. I put that big rock back in the back because there's kind of this unrealistic hole right there. I just sort of want to block it, and I put the shrubbery around it to kind of camouflage some of it. But then I put a little greenery in there, poured the alcohol and glue solution, and you see it comes along there and it sort of drips right off. The accidental, but I really like that look. It looks like just water drains down there all the time, so that's pretty cool. In this scene, we'll see I put my 2 pine trees back up that I had there, and their job is to sort of camouflage this road back here, because it's the road to nowhere. It doesn't go anywhere. So it just sort of disappears behind the trees. I made me a log, and I took these horses that used to be part of a little set that had a wagon behind it, and I just cut the wagon off. Put some quote-unquote rope between the yoke and the log, and then put this little dude right down there. I think he's checking one of the horse's shoes or something. I don't know. I just threw them in there because I thought the horses need somebody in front of them. So pretty proud of that. You can also see some of the weathering of the retaining wall, how it really looks dirty now from the treatment we gave it a couple episodes ago, and some of the additional ground cover and stuff in there. Again, I'm pretty proud of this scene. It's in scale, so it's a little hard to see, but back up in here I got some logs I made. They're just sitting there waiting to be loaded, but I've got these 3 dudes right here getting ready to push that log onto a skeleton log car when it gets there. And right here, I figure that's like a foreman guy. He's like yelling at that guy for something, I don't know. Right down in here, if you can tell, if you can see it, there's this barkish stuff that I have down here, and I got it throughout the top of the log loading ramp. What that is I took that same screen I sifted the rocks with, and then I sifted that barky stuff I was using, that mulch, and the stuff that fell through was very fine. Looked really cool, so I sprinkled it all over there and then glued it down, but that was pretty easy to do. And then over here we've got I got some more logs ready to go on to a logging car, and a couple of guys talking. This guy's got some kind of a pry bar in his hand. I don't really know what's going on there. They're just hanging out, maybe they're having a smoke, I don't know. One thing I didn't point out earlier is I glued all these logs on because as you know, I can take that log loading ramp completely out, and it comes out with all of this, everything intact, so I can maintain the rails or actually work on this if I need to without having to lean over the layout, which I think is pretty cool. And then the final scene is over here where the pulpwood gets loaded. I got a couple of guys working on it up there. I got some little pieces of pulpwood stacked here. Maybe they're going to use that for firewood and not send it off. I got a couple of stumps for them to sit on when they're bored or something, and these 2 guys are moving these little pulpwood pieces around. Again, there's some of that bark kind of stuff here and back in here and in there. One other thing you can see here, I went through and I just sort of scraped off the paint off the end of these to make it look like the continual use just keeps the end of that wood exposed, bare. A little hard to see, but I did it back here where the logs are too, but they're covered so you can't really see it. And then lastly, we look right down there is the patch that I put in. As you know, I've got a couple of those. I like the way that turned out too. Had to touch it up with a little bit of gray though to make it sort of stand out and look different. But anyway, those are the little scenes in the overall scene that is the log loading ramp. So that's my log loading ramp. And to tell you the truth, every time I come in here, I turn on the lights, I just stare at it for a while. I'm really proud of it. And it was easy. Doing these kind of details was easy. So now let's just see how this looks with the old 2-truck Shay pushing in some skeleton log cars. Isn't that a beautiful scene? I love it. All right, well there you go. It's been a long time coming, but the whole working side, the whole left side of the logging camp is in theory finished. It's got all the ground cover, it's got the details and everything, so pretty proud of it. And I guess that'll do it for now. Let's just head back into the studio. And we're back in the studio, and there you go. Once again, the loggers are producing logs to make lumber and making it all right in the universe. Hey, in the next couple of weeks, we're gonna detail the log loading camp proper. We're going to do some work on that gully in the middle, and then we will be done-ish with the logging camp. It'll be so exciting. Make sure you tune in. Hey, this is the kind of stuff we do here on It's My Railroad. So if you're new here, why don't you just go ahead and subscribe and push that little bell icon. Make sure you like and share this video with somebody. Make sure you connect with us on Facebook. And until next time, my name is Steve Brown, and rail on, my friends.